What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television, and today we're going to be getting into a comic book limited series, Way of X. But before we get into all of that, I want to thank all of you for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing all that beautiful stuff. Uh, I'm gonna leave a link down below in the description box for uh, our merch down over on Bonfire. Go check it out. Anything you buy does help the channel and tries to help us grow as a community. But let's get into it. Today we're getting into the June 2021 release of Way of X. That's the cover there. It's one of the variants that they have. Uh, Quick tangent. I hate that the fact that they have like 50 variants for like every book. It's like it inflates the numbers ridiculously. It's written by Cy Spurrier, artist by Bob Quinn, color artist is Java Tartagalli, and the cover artist for this particular cover is Giuseppe Camuncoli and Marte Gar- Garcia. Gracia. Now, in this particular five issue limited series, we're gonna um, follow Kurt and some mutants around him while on Krakoa, and he is again conflicted about the religion and the faith he grew up following, because at this point the mutants on Krakoa are being able to use resurrection processes in order to come back from the dead. Quickly, how they're able to do that, their psyches downloaded onto some sort of program, and with the help of Sinister, they were able to, and Xavier, they were able to combine the brain patterns and Sinister's genetic expertise to revive the same body. Your brain patterns are recorded all the way up until the moment you die, so then you can come back as the same person that you were before you perished. And Kurt is not sure how to feel about that because he's feeling like it's going to lead people to live a reckless life or lead a more reckless life, because if they're able to come back from the dead, then does anything they do matter? Because they could do something bad, something good, and they're able to come back just because they're mutants, is affecting how Kurt looks at the world today. And part of what this limited series is attempting to do is to reconcile his old faith to this new lifestyle that the mutants are living on Krakoa, and trying to find a balance between that. Also, um, basically, like creating a new religion, so to speak, on Krakoa, or a set of guidelines that he's cherry picking, so to seem, from what he's experienced on Krakoa and in his life. This series also introduces a new villain called the Patchwork Man, and this also shows the return of Legion, aka David Haller. Um, I do like the story. Initially sets up with Xavier waking up to this image of the Patchwork Man. He contacts Kurt to maybe talk a little bit, but he's currently in a mission with his team to go check out this mutant museum, so to speak, that highlights all of the misdeeds that mutants have done. Also, they have these little pages throughout the story and throughout the series. It's basically the writings of Nightcrawler or Doctor. I just want to make sure Doctor Nemesis or Doctor Nemesis, Xavier and stuff. It just goes to show just the thoughts of what's going on. Here you see some of the team, and you got Pixie there, you got DJ, Pixie can affect your emotions with her dust. DJ can create constructs with sound. And they kind of tease one of these other team members how she hasn't had her first yet, meaning her first kill, her first death. And so she's, a little nervous of what would happen if that happened. But anyway, they did decide to take down this museum of mutant hate, so to speak, and they decided to go back home. In the meantime, Magneto and Nightcrawler talk about the Museum of Hate that they came across, and thinking that he was pulling a joke, Nightcrawler happened to bring forth something they had of Magneto. Now, this was one of Magneto's earlier attempts to take over the world, like back in the 60s, and very cheesy back then and everything. He has definitely evolved from then, so have a lot of the X-Men. And he kind of gets a little irritated because he feels like he was there for mutants way before everyone realized like what he was trying to do kind of was the right thing to do. Like Magneto was always right in a sense. Just the way he went about it may have been questionable at best. But Magneto was always right. Humankind is not going to 100 accept people with powers like that or anybody with powers like that because people are going to want checks and balances eventually on these type of individuals, and Magneto knew that. And with his attempt over the decades to try to just get a nation upon himself, which eventually happened with Krakoa. But when the Krakoa thing happened, he kind of was like, "This is what I wanted the whole time," basically. Um, but Kurt and Magneto talk after his little joke, and Magneto's like, I don't take this as a joke. You came from a time period, you come from a place that you following a god, and you're worried about the technology we have, resurrection and all this. Well, didn't he resurrect himself? Didn't he resurrect Lazarus? So what is the problem here? What is your disconnect with what we're trying to do with the technology and mutant powers that we have here that Jesus didn't do back then? And I think that aspect of it is maybe what started turning Kurt a little bit to understanding what Magneto has been meaning all this time. We also see this character by the name of Lost. Nightcrawler directs her to Krakoa. During the night, also, we see Exodus with a bunch of other mutants talking about the Patchwork Man. Lately, the Patchwork Man has been making his appearances known to people, whether in the shadows, in dreams, what have you. But the Patchwork Man has been around, so to speak. And we see Nightcrawler trying to listen to the story, and he comes across Dr. Nemesis, also out searching for um, like fungi and stuff. That top of his head is like all psychedelic drugs, and he's kind of like a geneticist when it comes to flowers and stuff. Pure scientist, so to speak. So he primarily deals with psychedelics, and again, Nightcrawler dealing with people that he may not deal with in his personal life, but realizing that everyone's got that value here, and just because he's not taking psychedelics or whatever, or it doesn't mean that Doctor Nemesis can't find uh, great uses for them for mutant kind or mankind, even if he felt like it. So yeah, Doctor Nemesis is always trying to find new ways to use psychedelics. We come across Magneto once again in Lost, and initially it looks like Magneto is just being a horrible person and trying to hurt this character Lost in front of everybody. But what Magneto is doing is making her suffer to die, but to then feel the full rejuvenation of the resurrection, so to speak. He feels he's probably feeling that her suffering will come at an end, but he has to kind of do this in order to, you know, you can't die. I mean, you have to die in order to be resurrected. You know what I mean? And maybe Kurt's thinking that he's taking it too far, but the audience is not thinking that, and then we wind up in uh, tunnels or wherever it is that they resurrect people, and they resurrected Lost. And she immediately makes Magneto and the ones around her sick because she has gravitational powers, so everyone is feeling like super sick around her. We also see everyone celebrating, so to speak, the resurrection of their friends and new members. Kurt is still just contemplating life in a general sense. He's just not sure where it is that he's going or where Krakoa is going, and he's worried about that. And, he has to try to figure this out. When he goes home to contemplate life and look at things from all perspectives, he comes across again himself, the Patchwork Man. With that being done, with the Patchwork Man ex- exposing himself to Kurt, that doesn't sound as bad as it sounded. That isn't as bad as it sounded. Kurt then decides to go to the gravesite of Blindfold, an old ally, I'm guessing, of his, and maybe love interest. Between him and Blindfold, up until this point, I'm unaware of what their relationship was. But then we finally get the return of David Haller, who also has a connection to Blindfold. Uh, we're immediately going to think that David Haller, with his past of being a villain and against the X-Men, that's what's going to happen here. That he's going to be the main protagonist for Kurt and the people, mutants of Krakoa. But we're going to see shortly throughout this series that Legion becomes quite intricate and integral to Krakoa for a good time to come. But only following this series of videos will you realize that. Um, I want to thank everyone for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing all of that beautiful stuff. I hope that you had fun today. I hope I've earned that subscription. If so, hit that red subscribe bar down below. And until next time, peace.